When the galaxy's most peaceful species sent a desperate call into the stars, they expected silence or perhaps sympathy. What they received instead was the arrival of the most unpredictable force in the universe, the Deathworlders. Humanity answered, and nothing would ever be the same. It was a quiet evening. The sun had gone down, and the sky outside Max's window was painted with soft pink and orange clouds. His room was filled with silence, except for the soft ticking of the clock on his wall. Max sat at his desk, staring at an old photo. In the picture, two people were smiling, Max and his best friend Aiden. They were standing at the edge of a forest trail, dirt on their shoes, their arms around each other's shoulders. That was a year ago. That was before Aiden moved away. Max had tried to be happy for him. Aiden's father had gotten a big job in another city, and their family had left quickly. At first, they called and messaged every day. They talked about school, games, and the latest science fiction shows. Max would laugh at Aiden's silly jokes, and Aiden would tease Max for always forgetting his homework. But slowly, the calls became fewer. The messages took longer to reply. Sometimes Max would send something and never hear back at all now. It had been 3 weeks since Aiden replied. Max felt a deep sadness in his chest. Not angry, just distant. Like Aiden was on another planet, not just in another city. Max didn't know how to reach him anymore. He leaned back in his chair, holding the photo close. "I miss you," he whispered to no one. Max's mother knocked gently on the door. "Dinner's ready," she said with a warm smile. Max nodded and followed her to the kitchen, but his heart stayed behind, stuck in memories. Later that night, Max lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Thoughts rushed through his mind. Should he call? Would Aiden even answer? What if he was too busy? What if they had just grown apart? He remembered when they built their own little spaceship in the backyard, made of cardboard, duct tape, and dreams. They used to call themselves the Earth Explorers. Aiden always said, "One day, Max, we'll go to the stars. And even if we land on different planets, we'll find each other again." That thought made Max smile, but also ache. The next day, Max went to school. His teacher noticed he was quiet. "Everything okay, Max?" she asked. He nodded, not ready to talk, but during lunch, he sat alone under the old oak tree, sketching on a piece of paper. He drew a small rocket ship, 2 tiny figures inside. One was labeled M and the other A. A classmate, Lily, passed by and paused. "That's cool," she said, pointing to the drawing. "Is it for a project?" "No," Max replied quietly. "Just something I used to do with my friend." She sat down beside him. "Did something happen?" "He moved away," Max said. "We used to be best friends, but now I don't know. He doesn't talk much anymore." Lily was quiet for a moment, then nodded. "That happened to me too. My cousin moved last year. Didn't know what to say after a while. But then I just wrote her a letter, a real one, not a text. I didn't even know if she'd write back." Max looked at her. "Did she?" "Yeah," Lily smiled. "A week later, and now we write once a month. It's different, but it feels real." Max thought about that. A letter. He hadn't tried that. It sounded old-fashioned. But maybe that made it special. That evening, Max pulled out a blank sheet of paper. He stared at it for a long time. Then slowly he began to write. "Dear Aiden, I don't know if this will reach you, but I hope it does. Things here are the same, and not the same. School's okay. I still forget my homework sometimes. I miss our talks. I miss laughing about dumb stuff and building spaceships out of boxes. I miss you. I guess I'm just writing because I don't know how else to say it. I hope you're okay. If you ever want to talk, I'm still here. Your explorer buddy, Maxie." Folded the letter, found an envelope, and carefully wrote Aiden's address. He added a small drawing, their old spaceship, and taped it inside. He mailed it the next morning, and then he waited. Days passed. Max tried not to think about it, but a part of him checked the mailbox every afternoon. 1 week, nothing. 2 weeks, still quiet. On the 15th day, a small envelope arrived. Max's heart jumped. He tore it open with shaking hands. Inside was a short letter written in Aiden's messy handwriting. "Max, I don't even know what to say. I read your letter 5 times. I didn't answer before because I didn't know how to. Things here are weird. New school, new friends. But I never forgot about you. I miss you too. Your letter made my whole week better. Let's keep writing. You're still my best. Friend, and I still think we'll reach the stars. Aiden. Max smiled so wide it hurt. He didn't feel distant anymore. He felt human and hopeful. Asterisk, it had been 2 weeks since Max got Aiden's letter. He had read it over and over again. Every time he read it, he smiled. Aiden had written back. Aiden still cared. That night, Max sat by his window. The stars above were shining, just like the ones he and Aiden used to pretend they would visit. The cardboard spaceship was still in the backyard, now faded by rain and sun, but Max didn't care. To him, it was more than cardboard. It was a memory, a promise. I'm going to write again, Max whispered to himself. The next day, Max pulled out a fresh piece of paper. His hand trembled slightly, but his heart felt lighter. He began, Dear Aiden, I was so happy to get your letter. Didn't expect it. I really thought maybe you forgot about me. I'm glad you didn't. I still sit under the oak tree at lunch sometimes. It's not the same without you, but it's quiet, and I like to draw there. Remember when we tried to build a robot that would carry snacks to the tree? It never worked, but I think I can fix it now. Maybe. I hope your school is getting better. Write when you can. Your explorer buddy, Maxie. Added a small drawing of their snack robot with a funny face and wheels too big for its body. Max laughed to himself and sealed the envelope. When he dropped it into the mailbox, he felt something. Warm in his chest hope, the letters continued. Every week one would arrive, sometimes short, sometimes long. It's always honest. Aiden told Max about his new school. It was big and crowded, and at first he felt invisible. But he had met a kid named Jamal who liked space too, even joined the science club together. Aiden sent a picture of a mini rocket they built for class. Max pinned it on his wall. Max wrote about his school too. He shared how he helped a girl named Lily fix a broken science model. He told Aiden how the oak tree looked in autumn, the red and gold leaves like fire in the wind, even though they were far apart. The letters made Max feel close to Aiden again. One weekend, Max got an idea. I want to do something big, he said to his mom. For Aiden, his mom smiled. What do you have in mind? I want to rebuild our cardboard spaceship, but better, stronger. And this time, I want to send him something in it. His mom helped him gather materials, old boxes, tape, glue, and silver paint. Max spent hours building. He worked in the garage every afternoon, measuring and cutting, shaping the walls of the ship. He even added a small control panel with painted buttons and a blinking LED light. Inside, he placed a box labeled Explorer Kit 2.0. It had a tiny star map he made himself, a small notebook with drawings of imaginary planets, photo of them together, and a note that read, Even from far away, we fly together. He mailed the package with care. Aiden's reply came a week later, a thick envelope filled with joy. Max, this was the coolest thing I've ever gotten. Should have seen my face when I opened the spaceship. My mom cried a little. She said, That's real friendship. I showed it to Jamal, and he thought it was awesome too. I put the star map above my bed. Thank you, I'm working on a surprise too. Aiden. Max felt proud. He hadn't just written a letter, he had built a connection again. That was the human way, wasn't it? To reach out, to keep going, to build something even when it seemed impossible. At school, Max walked with a straighter back. He laughed more. He even joined the science club. At lunch, he invited Lily and a few others to sit under the oak tree. They talked, joked, and shared their dreams. One day, Lily asked, So how's Aiden? He's good, Max said, smiling. He's working on a surprise. Still writing letters? And Max replied, And I think we'll always write. Even if we end up on different stars someday. Lily laughed. That's kind of beautiful. Max looked up at the sky. It was a clear day and the sun made everything shine. Yeah, he said. It is. A few days later, another box arrived at Max's house. It was from Aiden. Max opened it slowly. Inside was a model of a planet round and painted with blue and green swirls, its tiny moons orbiting with wire. There was a card taped to the bottom. This is Planet Max, home of the bravest explorer. Its atmosphere is made of kindness, and its core is friendship. Max laughed, then felt his eyes sting. He hugged the planet close. That night, Max placed Planet Max on his nightstand. It glowed softly in the dark. He wrote one last letter for the week. Aiden, your planet made me cry, the good kind. I think our connection is even stronger than before. And even if we grow up, go to college, or live on opposite sides of the world, I'll always remember the spaceship, the stars, and you. Earth explorers forever. The winter winds were starting to blow, and Max could feel the chill in the air. He sat by the fireplace, watching the orange flames dance. The letters from Aiden were safely tucked inside a small wooden box he kept on his shelf. Each letter felt like a little light, like a star shining through the cold distance between them. But tonight, Max felt a little sad again. Not because Aiden wasn't writing. The letters still came, and the cardboard spaceship sat proudly in his room. No, tonight was different. Max looked around and realized something. No one else knows, whispered. No one else knew how amazing it felt to stay connected. How powerful it was to rebuild a friendship with nothing but paper, hope, and heart. He thought about all the kids in his school, the ones who looked quiet at lunch, or the ones who scrolled through their phones but seemed lonely anyway. Maybe they needed what he had. The next day at school, Max brought one of Aiden's letters in his backpack. During lunch, he sat under the oak tree with Lily and a few others. Carefully, he placed the letter on the table. What's that? Lily asked. It's from my friend, the one who moved away. Lily smiled. Aiden right? Max nodded. Yeah, I thought. Maybe we could read one together. They all leaned in as Max read aloud Aiden's words about his new science club, his attempt at cooking dinner and burning the rice, and how he missed watching space documentaries with Max. The group laughed and listened closely. That's actually really sweet, said Carlos, one of Max's classmates. I used to have a friend like that, but we stopped talking. Why? Max asked. I guess I thought it was too late. Carlos shrugged. Max looked at him. It's never too late. You could write them. That's what I did. Everyone went quiet for a moment. Then Lily said, maybe we could do something together, like a project. About letters. Max's eyes lit up. Yes, like a letter writing club. The very next week, the school approved their idea. Max and Lily called it Across the Stars, a club for students who wanted to reconnect with someone, or even write to people in other schools, cities, or countries. They met every Thursday in the library. Max brought art supplies for decorating. Envelopes. Lily printed star maps and quotes about friendship. Carlos, to everyone's surprise, brought cookies. More kids joined than Max expected. Some wrote letters to old friends. Others wrote to cousins or grandparents, or pen pals they had never even met. And something began to change in the school. Laughter filled the library. During club hours, students shared memories, dreams, and small pieces of their hearts on paper. A girl named Annika wrote to her sister in college. A boy named Sam wrote to his grandfather in another town. Someone even started writing to a classmate who sat on the other side of the room. It wasn't just a club anymore. It was a spark. One day, the principal stopped by and saw the bulletin board filled with decorated letters, envelopes, and photos. This is incredible, she said. Max, you helped build this. Max smiled shyly. Started with one letter from a friend. She nodded. Well, it's turning into something much bigger. That night, Max wrote to Aiden. Dear Aiden, something amazing is happening here. I started a club with some friends. We call it Across the Stars. We help people write letters like we do. Guess what? It's working. People are reconnecting. I think this is what humans do best. We turn sadness into connection. We find hope in paper and kindness in envelopes. You helped me believe again. Thank you. Maxie sealed the letter with a bright gold star sticker. He didn't know it yet, but that letter would go on to do even more. 1 week later, Max got a thick envelope. Inside was a letter from Aiden, and something extra. A printed article from Aiden's school newspaper. The headline read, "Letters of Hope. Max's idea inspires new club across town." Aiden's school had started their own club. They named it Stars Between Us. Jamal helped set it up, and Aiden gave a speech about the power of friendship, letters, and not giving up. Max couldn't stop smiling. This wasn't just a project. Anymore, it was movement, a wave, a small example of the best part of humanity. At the next Across the Stars meeting, Max shared the newspaper story. Everyone clapped. Some even teared up. "That's the spirit of humans," Lily said. "They're we. Don't give up on each other." Carlos nodded. "And we send hope in envelopes." The whole room laughed that weekend. Max sat under the oak tree alone for a few minutes. He looked up at the winter sky, stars twinkling above. "I thought I lost a friend," he said softly, "but I found something more." His voice was quiet, but it carried. "I found proof that even from far away, people can still feel close if they try." Asterisk, it was a cloudy afternoon when Max walked home from school. The wind blew gently, carrying the soft rustle of leaves. In his backpack, he carried no letter from Aiden this time, just silence. It had been almost 3 weeks since Aiden's last message. Max tried not to worry, told himself Aiden was just busy. School was hard. Life could be tiring. Deep down, that familiar sadness began to rise again. What if he forgets again? Max whispered to himself. He walked slower than usual. When he got home, he didn't go to his room right away. He stood in the backyard, staring at the old cardboard spaceship. It was still there, patched and painted, a little bent from wind and rain, but still standing. Max walked up and sat inside. It smelled like paper and hope. That night, Max stared at the blank paper on his desk. He wanted to write to Aiden, but the words didn't come. He didn't want to sound upset. He didn't want to sound weak. But he also didn't want to pretend everything was fine, so he just wrote what was in his heart. "Dear Aiden, I miss your letters. I know you might be busy. That's okay. But I guess I wanted to say, I still think of you. I hope you're okay, right? I hope you still remember our cardboard ship and the stars we used to dream about. I sit in the ship sometimes. It helps me feel close to you, I guess. That's all." Your friend Maxie folded it and placed it in an envelope. But he didn't send it yet. Something in him said to wait. The next day at school, Max didn't talk much during lunch. Even the club meeting felt quiet. Lily noticed, "You okay?" she asked gently. Max nodded. "Just missing someone." Lily gave a small smile. "That happens? You want to talk?" Max shook his head but then paused. "Can I ask something weird?" "Sure." "Do you think we can care too much about someone who moved away? Like, what if they don't care the same anymore?" Lily thought for a moment. "I think if we care, then it's real. Even if they get busy, even if they forget, your heart doesn't stop just because theirs got distracted." Max looked down. "What if I'm the only one trying?" Lily put her hand gently on his arm. "Then you're the strong one." That night, Max looked at the envelope again. He added a single line to the letter. "P.S. Even if you're silent, I'll still be here." Then he mailed it. Days passed. Then a week. Still no reply. But something surprising happened. During one of the Across the Stars meetings, a new student walked in. She was quiet, holding a small stack of paper in her arms. "Hi," she said softly. "I'm Hannah. I just moved." "Here." Everyone welcomed her. Max noticed she looked nervous. So he walked over and asked, "Would you like help writing your first letter?" She nodded. "I used to write to my best friend, but I stopped. I moved too far. I thought she wouldn't care anymore." Max smiled gently. "I know that feeling."
Anna looked up.
"You do?" Max sat down beside her and shared his story. The spaceship, the letters, the waiting, the silence. But also, the hope. And then he said something he hadn't fully believed until now. "I think caring is never wasted. Even if they forget, we still shine." That weekend, Max sat in his cardboard ship again. He stared up at the sky, watching the clouds move. The wind picked up. A small leaf drifted inside the ship. It landed beside him, a soft gold color, shaped like a star. He smiled. Maybe silence wasn't the end. Maybe it was just a pause. Next Monday, Max opened the mailbox like always, not expecting anything, but there it was. A thick envelope with Aiden's handwriting. He opened it with shaking hands. "Max, I'm so sorry it took me this long. Things have been hard. My dad was sick for a while and we've been taking care of him. I thought about writing every day, but I didn't want to sound tired or sad. I didn't want to bring you down. But then your last letter came. Even if you're silent, I'll still be here." Those words, they meant more than I can say. I sat on my bed and cried, because you still care, and I do too. I never forgot. I never will. Thank you for not giving up on me. Your friend, always, Aiden. Max held the letter against his chest. He didn't cry. He didn't need to. He just smiled. Later that evening, Max wrote back, "Dear Aiden, you don't have to be perfect for me to care. I'm just glad you're okay. Life gets heavy, but I'm still your shipmate. Let's keep writing, even if the stars get cloudy sometimes. Your explorer, Max." The sun was shining again, but Max's heart still felt a little cloudy. He had Aiden's letter in his backpack, the one where Aiden finally wrote back after a long silence. Max had read it many times. It was honest. It was kind. And it was filled with emotion. But now, 3 more weeks had passed. No new letter had arrived again. Max sat under the oak tree at lunch. The leaves were falling now, drifting down like paper from the sky. He pulled out his sketchbook and flipped to the last page. Slowly, he started drawing stars, little dots, shining in a dark sky. He missed Aiden. Not just the letters. He missed the feeling of knowing someone was thinking about him, too. After school, Max helped clean up the library after the across. The stars meeting. There were more members now. Even Hannah had brought 2 new friends. Everyone was still writing letters. Except Max. "Lily noticed you didn't write today." Max shook his head. "I didn't know what to say." She nodded. Quietly, "That's okay." He looked at her. "What if I care more than he does?" Lily thought for a moment. "Caring more doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're brave." Max blinked. "Brave?" She smiled. "It takes courage to keep caring when it's quiet." That night, Max sat in his room. He opened his wooden letterbox and looked through. All the old notes from Aiden, some were silly, some were deep. All of them were filled with friendship. He thought of the first one, Aiden never sent. He thought of the cardboard spaceship. He thought of Planet Max, and then slowly he picked up a pen. "Dear Aiden, I don't know if you're okay right now. Maybe life is hard again, or maybe you're just busy, and that's okay. I'm writing this to remind you, I'm still here. I won't give up, even if the stars go silent, even if the sky turns dark. You're still my friend. Earth explorers don't quit. Your friend always." Maxie didn't draw anything this time. He didn't decorate the envelope. He just sent it with hope. A few days later, something unexpected happened. Hannah approached him after class. "Hey," she said shyly, "I wrote a poem. For the club, can I show you?" Of course, Max replied. She handed him a folded paper. It read, "When friends are far, some days are quiet, like a blank page. No message, no echo, just space. But still I wait. Not because I'm weak, but because I believe hearts speak, even in silence." Max felt his eyes sting. "It's beautiful," he said softly. Hannah smiled. "It was inspired by you." That weekend, Max got a surprise. A letter from Aiden, written by hand, but different than the others. Inside, Aiden explained everything. "Max, I'm sorry again. I was scared to write. Not because I didn't want to, but because I felt like I had failed you. You kept caring, you kept hoping, and I kept going quiet. I guess I didn't know how to say I'm still here when everything around me was messy. But your last letter, it reminded me that real friends don't need perfect timing. They just need each other. So here I am, still your friend, still an explorer, and still thankful that you never stopped writing." Always, Aiden. Max held the letter for a long time. He felt the sadness lift, slowly, like fog after rain. It wasn't just the letter. It was the feeling that even across distance, even through silence, something strong remained. On Monday, Max came to school early. He made a poster and pinned it to the bulletin board outside the library at the top. It said, "Even when it's quiet, keep reaching out." Underneath, he added, "You may not get a reply right away, may feel alone for a little while. But every letter, every message, every kind word is a light in someone's dark sky. And sometimes, just knowing someone still cares is enough." To guide them home, students gathered around it during break. Some nodded quietly, some wiped their eyes, and many. That very afternoon, wrote letters they had been afraid to write for weeks. Max sat under the oak tree again. A soft wind blew, and a golden leaf landed on his lap. He picked it up and smiled. He wasn't alone. And even when it felt quiet, even when Aiden didn't answer for a while, their friendship was still alive, because hope wasn't about having answers. Hope was about still believing the answer might come. Asterisk, the days were getting colder, and the wind outside Max's window howled gently through the trees. Winter was on its way. Max sat at his desk, writing in his notebook. The page was half full of thoughts, half full of stars he had drawn to calm his mind. He had received Aiden's last letter 2 weeks ago. It was kind and full of thanks, but since then, again nothing. Still, this time, Max didn't feel lost. He missed Aiden. Yes, he still felt the quiet ache of distance, like a missing piece in his heart. But the pain wasn't sharp anymore. It had turned into something else, something softer. He had learned that even when the letters paused, the friendship didn't stop. Still, he wanted to do more. One morning, Max had an idea. "I wonder," he whispered to himself, "if we could see each other again, not just in letters, but in real time." He went to his mom. "Do you think I could video call Aiden?" His mom smiled. "Have you ever asked him?" Max blinked. "No, I just thought. Maybe letters were better." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "Letters are special. Sometimes hearing a voice, seeing a smile, makes the heart a little fuller." Max nodded. "I'll write him again. This time I'll ask." That afternoon, Max wrote a new letter. "Dear Aiden, I love our letters. I really do. But I was wondering, would you want to try a video call sometime? No pressure, just maybe a short one. It's been a long time since I've seen your face. Either way, I'll keep writing. Your explorer, always." Maxie added a sketch of their old cardboard spaceship with little antennas and a satellite dish on top. 3 days later, a reply came, not a letter this time, but a message on Max's tablet. "Hey Max, yes. Let's call? I've wanted to for a long time, but didn't know how to ask. Can we try this Saturday?" Max couldn't stop smiling. Saturday came quickly. Max cleaned his room, fixed his hair 3 times, and sat nervously in front of his screen. The clock ticked slowly. His heart thumped like a drum. Then a beep. Aiden's name flashed on the screen. Max pressed accept. Screen lit up, and there he was, Aiden, a little taller, his hair slightly longer, a shy smile on his face. "Max," Aiden said softly. Max nodded. "Hey." Both boys were quiet at first, just looking at each other, and then suddenly, they both laughed. It wasn't awkward. It was warm, familiar, like opening a door you thought was locked, finding your friend still inside. They talked for nearly an hour. They showed each other drawings, favorite books, even their rooms. Aiden showed Max his new telescope. Max showed Aiden the Explorer Kit 2.0. He still kept near his bed. They didn't talk about missing letters. They didn't talk about the silence. They just talked, and it felt like healing. That evening, Max sat on his bed, heart full. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel like Aiden had moved away. He felt like Aiden was still here, just in another house, another town, but not far in spirit. That night, Max wrote one last line in his journal. "We're not just Earth explorers anymore. We're heart travelers. We travel through distance. With kindness, through silence, with hope. Through time with memory." The next school week, Max brought the idea to the Across the Stars Club. What if he said, "We set up pen pal video days"? Lily raised an eyebrow like, "Calling your pen pal?" "Exactly," Max said. "For those who feel ready, just a short talk to see the person behind the words." Some students were nervous. Others were excited, Carlos joked. "Only if I can wear my lucky space helmet." Everyone laughed. 2 weeks later, with help from their teacher, they set up a classroom day where video calls could happen safely with pen pals from other schools. It wasn't just about letters anymore, it was about finding new ways to connect. Human ways. Max and Aiden still wrote letters sometimes. But now, once a month, they also video called. Sometimes they just sat and did homework together without talking much. Sometimes they shared new dreams, like building a model satellite or writing a comic about space friends who find each other. In the galaxy, they were growing up, but they were growing up together. Even from a distance, Max still missed Aiden sometimes. He still felt lonely on cloudy days, or when the mail stayed empty. But now he knew something very important. You can miss someone and still feel close. You can feel alone and still be loved. You can be far, still be right there in someone's heart. One evening, Aiden said something during their video chat that stayed with Max, you know? Aiden said, "I think being human means learning how to stay close. Even when everything around you is changing." Max nodded slowly. "Yeah, we're good at that." Aiden smiled. "That's what makes us Deathworlders, right?" Max laughed. "In the best way." The school year was almost over. The air smelled like spring, fresh and new. Flowers were starting to bloom near the sidewalks, and the trees swayed softly in the wind. Max stood in front of the old oak tree at lunch. His backpack was heavier than usual, not with books, but with memories. He carried letters, drawings, even a folded photo of the cardboard spaceship he and Aiden had built years ago. The tree had been part of so many moments, the quiet days, the sad days, and the days when Max felt brave. Today it would be part of something new. Inside the school library, the Across the Stars Club was meeting for the last time this year. Posters hung on the walls, photos of letters, poems, even video screenshots of students with their pen pals from far away. There were colorful stars made of paper. A big banner read, "Friendship travels far, but always finds a way back." Max stood in front of the group. His heart beat fast, but he felt proud. "I want to thank everyone," he began. "When we started, this was just a few of us writing letters. Now it's become something bigger. Something that shows how strong we can be, even when people we care about move away." He looked at each person in the room. "I know what it feels like to miss someone, to feel forgotten. But I've also learned that the human heart is powerful. We don't give up. We reach out. We care, even when it's hard." Lily clapped first, then Carlos, then the whole room. Max smiled. That night, Max had a video call with Aiden. It had become their monthly tradition. Aiden looked happy. "I saw the club photos you sent," he said. "You've built something amazing," Max smiled. "We built it. You're part of this too." Aiden paused. "Hey, can I tell you something?" "Of course." I showed our letters to my teacher, and she talked to our school principal. They shared it with another school. Now they want to start a friendship project too. Max's eyes lit up. "Seriously?" Aiden nodded. "We might even visit each other's schools one day." "It's like for real," Max laughed. "That would be the best day ever." "Planet Max might need an airport," Aiden teased. "Only if yours has a launch pad." Both boys laughed. Weeks passed. Then came a surprise. A letter from an organization that supported young leaders and kindness. Programs across schools they had heard about Across the Stars. They wanted to feature Max's story in their newsletter. Max was shocked. "But I'm just a kid," he said to his mom. She smiled. "You're a kid who reminded people what matters. That's powerful," he agreed to the article. But only if they included Aiden too, because none of this had started without him. On the last day of school, Max brought a small gift to the club. A time capsule. "We'll put letters, drawings, and memories inside," he said. "And maybe one day, when we're older, we'll open it again." Each member placed something inside. Max added a copy of his first letter to Aiden. He also included a tiny model of the cardboard spaceship carefully crafted from silver paper and tape. They buried the capsule near the oak tree, under the soft spring soil. "We may all go to different schools soon," Lily said, "but this will always be our story." That summer, Max and Aiden didn't write as often. They didn't need to. Their bond had grown into something solid, like a bridge between stars. But one sunny afternoon, a thick letter arrived. It was from Aiden. "Max, I got accepted into a summer program in your city. I'll be staying with my uncle. And I want to visit. Can we meet under the oak tree? I think it's time. Always." Max couldn't believe it. He ran to his mom, jumping up and down. "He's coming! Aiden's really coming!" The day finally came. Max sat under the oak tree, holding a small notebook in his lap. His legs bounced with nervous energy. Around him, the wind blew softly, just like it had during all those letter-writing days. Then, from across the playground, he saw him, Aiden, real, tall, smiling. They ran to each other and hugged tight. Not a long hug, not a perfect one, but the kind that says, "You're still here." Max stepped back. "You're taller." "You're not," Aiden grinned. They laughed. Then they sat under the tree and talked, like no time had passed at all. As the sun began to set, Max looked up. "You know what I learned?" He said, "What?" "That it's okay to feel sad when someone leaves. It's human, but what makes us special is we don't give up." Aiden nodded. "We find ways to reach out, even across time, across space, across the stars," Max whispered.